On April 14, 1935, during the Great Depression, a powerful dust storm hits the U.S. Great Plains.
But what caused this massive storm? And how did it impact farmers on the Great Plains?
In what comes to be known as Black Sunday, one of the most devastating storms of the 1930s Dust Bowl era swept across the Great Plains. The storm, fueled by severe drought, overgrazing, and poor farming practices, engulfed the region in a thick cloud of dust, turning day into night. Farmers struggled to protect their land and livestock as the powerful winds kicked up millions of tons of dirt and dust so dense that some eyewitnesses believed it was the end of the world. The aftermath of the storm left behind a barren and desolate landscape, with crops destroyed, homes buried under layers of dust, and valuable topsoil carried away. At least 17 deaths were reported in Kansas alone, but the total number of deaths and injuries across the plains is unknown. Black Sunday intensified the economic hardship that was already severe due to the Great Depression. It drove many families to abandon their farms and seek a better life elsewhere. Many of these migrants, often called Okies, moved west to California to escape the severe drought and try to rebuild their lives. American author John Steinbeck chronicled the plight of these migrants in his classic 1939 novel, The Grapes of Wrath, which tells the story of the Joad family. John Ford released a film based on the book a year later that starred Henry Fonda in one of his most memorable roles. Additionally, photographers like Dorothea Lange told the story of the people of the Dust Bowl through powerful pictures. These photos have become some of the most iconic and enduring images of the Great Depression. U.S. President Franklin Roosevelt introduced programs to help alleviate the farming crisis. One example was the creation of the Soil Conservation Service in the Department of Agriculture. It promoted improved farming and land management techniques and paid farmers to utilize these practices. For many Dust Bowl farmers, this federal aid was their only source of income. Rains finally arrived in 1939, ending the Dust Bowl era. Improved farming techniques significantly reduced the problem of soil erosion and prevented a repeat of the 1930s Dust Bowl devastation in the future. The tragedy of Black Sunday serves as a stark reminder of the devastating effects of environmental degradation and the importance of sustainable farming practices. Here are other events that happened today in history. In 1775, America's first society dedicated to the abolition of slavery is established in Philadelphia. In 1828, the first edition of Webster's American Dictionary is published, helping to standardize U.S. spelling. In 1865, at Ford's Theater, U.S. President Abraham Lincoln is shot by John Wilkes Booth and dies the next day. In 1912, the luxurious ocean liner Titanic hits an iceberg in the Atlantic off the coast of Newfoundland. In 1918, two pilots engage in America's first aerial dogfight with enemy aircraft in World War I. In 1986, the U.S. launches airstrikes against Libya in retaliation for terrorism against U.S. troops and citizens. In 2021, the NCAA begins allowing athletes to change schools without having to sit out a season. And now it's time for our Today in History quiz. Invited by the American Society of Newspaper Editors, which communist leader visited the United States in April 1959? Nikita Khrushchev, Fidel Castro, Mao Zedong, or Kim Il-sung?
Liked learning about Black Sunday and the Dust Bowl? Then you'll love this one about the Black Tuesday stock market crash that kick-started the Great Depression. Tap the screen to keep the story going on Today in History.